feeling very Olympic today. How about you?
Great moments are born from great opportunity. If we play them 10 times, they might win 9, but not this game.
Listen to him. We can beat these guys.
I take jumping very seriously, nearly as much as proving people wrong.
And where do you think you're going?
The Olympics.
I thought you might need this.
It's higher than you jumped before, faster than you've gone before.
You can break bones. You're lucky if you can walk again.
Eddie the Eagle. The Olympics, they're an incredibly moving time around the world, so there's no surprise that we've seen a lot of movies inspired by the games and sports over the past decades, if you will. Brian Eggert with Deep Focus Review in the Cinephiles, Independent Film Critic of the Year, across the country, by the way. He's here to reminisce some of the favorite movies to get us into and inspired about the Olympics. We're going to start with a documentary.
From 1965.
65 from the Tokyo Olympiad. Let's take a look. Knowing you, Brian, you would pick a subtitled documentary for your top 5.
That's 3 hours, no less. 3 hours, yeah.
Okay, what is this?
This is one of the most fascinating documentaries about the Olympics. The Olympics have official filmmakers who make their official films occasionally. And we've kind of gotten away from that because the 24-hour news cycle covers the Olympics. But in the mid-20th century, these were really popular. They would hire really talented directors to make these movies.
Really?
And so Kan Ichikawa, this Japanese director who has been making like dramatic films from the 40s to the 2000s, made this Tokyo Olympiad in 1965 about the 1964 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. And this was kind of a showcase of Tokyo in the post-war world, showing that they can organize this. But it's also a very artistic, very deeply human movie that's not at all about like nationalism or countries winning, but it's all about these personal struggles of the individual, both winners and losers. And it's a very touching, very, as I said, aesthetically beautiful movie that looks at just kind of the personal ambition and the tragedy of loss and of all these people who are kind of striving for the gold.
That's great. I wish there were more like huge filmmakers that would get involved in that regard, or at least be allowed to be involved. It'd be cool to see that because there is no better drama in real life than in like high-end worldwide sport, right?
Absolutely.
All right, that is available for free. You said it's on Olympics.com. So do they own
Olympics.com, yep.
HBO Max.
And the Criterion Channel.
And you love Criterion Channel, big proponent over here.
Absolutely.
Next one everybody knows, soundtrack for Chariots of Fire. Take a look.
And remember those few young men with hope in our hearts and wings on our heels.
Well, it made that song just famous, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows this opening scene, and then nobody really talks about what happens after it.
Yeah.
It's one of the most, I think, underrated Best Pictures, earned Best Picture in 1982, and it's surprisingly subversive, despite it being sort of a stodgy, British production. It's about individuals, again, who are trying to prove something to themselves and not for their country, who are, either racing for God or racing for their religion or their personal identity. And I revisited it recently, and I think, it gets a bad rap because it won over like Raiders of the Lost Ark and Reds and Atlantic City, some more movies that are generally better, I think. But I think it's a film worth revisiting.
It holds up.
And it definitely holds up, yeah.
All right, you can rent that wherever you rent movies. And finally, one perfect for the Winter Games.
Yeah, you ski fast, but you're reckless. You never had any real education, did you? All you ever had was your skis. And that's not enough.
I waited for you in Megève.
But why, David? You know I had plans for Christmas, didn't you?
Oh, let me see.
Superbly calm and with the absolute concentration the sport demands. A concentration which can mean the difference between victory and defeat.
So this is A film by Michael Ritchie, made in 1969, and it stars two late great stars. You got Robert Redford and Gene Hackman, who we both lost last year.
Yeah.
And it's an early Redford movie, and he's basically playing kind of a vapid, very attractive kind of womanizer guy who doesn't really know why he's skiing. He's very good, very talented, and ultimately wins, but what happens after you win? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Is with the film or the
That's
question
what this is
that-
about?
Yeah, and
Interesting.
it was shot in such a way where there's multiple cameras everywhere, and it's so kinetically edited. And the skiing scenes, you feel like you're, on the skis, you're flying down the hill.
It's the F1 of slalom.
Kind of, yeah. So it's a very fast-paced skiing scenes, but a very kind of contemplative, existential movie about why people compete in sports and
Boy.
what you get out of it.
They all face that problem. Michael Phelps talked about it. There's so many Super Bowl champions who talk about winning, and then all of a sudden in a moment it's over, and you go, what am I made of? What am I?
Yeah, what now? And
Yeah.
that's the question.
Interesting. Well, thank you. These are great film picks. It's not Cool Runnings.
Not Cool Runnings, no.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, these are movies that'll stay with you and you'll be thinking about long afterward.
All right, appreciate it. That's also available wherever you rent movies, by the way. Deep Focus Review, deepfocusreview.com. Brian Egger, so grateful to have you on the Cinephiles as well, the Care 11 show on Care 11 Plus, and on YouTube, where we break down all the new movies that are coming out. Brian often gets screeners, sees them beforehand, rates them. He's on Rotten Tomatoes, on his own website. Such a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you.